Well, would you look at that? Another installment of Best Budget Cards, a series where I go over a set from Magic the Gathering's past and showcase 10 cards that are under $1 that I think could fit in your decks? Sounds like a blood-sucking good time. And no, I didn't just pull that adjective out of the ether, because today we are taking a look at Innistrad Crimson Vow. This set was all about vampires, but it also had some really slept-on budget options, which we will go over today. As always, this video is brought to you by the EDH Jank Center, your source for everything Commander and everything Jank, and I am your host, Jordan. Now let's dive in. Our first card up today is by invitation only, 3 white sorcery. Choose a number between 0 and 13. Each player sacrifices that many creatures. Now, I don't typically run a lot of board wipes. I have a personal rule that limits me to 1 per deck. I just prefer everyone to be able to have their stuff on board and have a good time, okay? Don't at me. However, if I am gonna run a board wipe, I really enjoy this card because, for one, having people sacrifice stuff means we can skirt around indestructible creatures, and 2, the modality of us getting to choose how many creatures get sacrificed can work in our favor. I personally have seen this card do a ton of heavy lifting in my play group, and for 40 cents, I think it's worth running in your decks that run white. Alright, moving on to our next card of the day, which is Radiant Grace, which is 1 and a white enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has vigilance. When enchanted creature dies, return Radiant Grace to the battlefield transformed under your control, attached to target opponent. And the transformed side says... Radiant Restraints, enchantment aura curse, enchant player. Creatures enchanted player controls enter the battlefield tapped. So I really enjoy this card on a Voltron commander. Oh, you want to kill my scary commander? Well, now your creatures will all come in tapped. It creates a subtle but sneaky incentive to not kill the creature you've enchanted it with. However, you can also use this on a creature that you want to sacrifice, just so you can return this under an opponent's control and ice their creatures. This is versatile, cheap, and fun, and that's a Jank Center special, baby. Moving on to Dream Shackle Geist, 1 blue creature spirit. It has flying. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose up to 1. Tap target creature, or target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step, and it's a 3/1. So this is a really nice static effect that taps down a problematic blocker, but where I enjoy this the most is in decks where you can make copies of it. The first copy can tap the creature down, the second can make sure it doesn't untap, and it goes on and on. I personally run this in my Orvar the All-Form deck, and it does work. Also, aside from those awesome combat abilities, an army of 3/1 flyers is nothing to laugh at, kiddos. Coming up next is Consuming Tide, 2 blue sorcery. Each player chooses a non-land permanent they control. Return all non-land permanents not chosen this way to their owner's hands. Then you draw a card for each opponent who has more cards in their hand than you. So this is like Cyclonic Rift's distant cousin. Here we have a symmetrical board wipe that bounces a ton of stuff back to everyone's hand, and situationally, if you're in a pinch or behind in the game, it can also draw you cards. I love it. Just look at Crimson Vow coming through with the really dope board wipes. We love to see it. And up next, we got Bleed Dry, 2 black instant. Target creature gets -13/-13 until end of turn. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. So this is a pet card of mine, and watchers of my channel will know that I've covered this before, but I don't care about the 4 mana. For 1 extra mana than a murder, we get a -X/-X effect that kills almost anything on the board, including indestructible creatures. And all that for 3 cents, dude, at instant speed, and it exiles that? Like, what? There's nothing else to say. I just freaking love this card, man. Okay, moving on to Bloodvial Purveyor, 2 black creature vampire. It has flying and trample. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player creates a blood token. It's an artifact with pay 1 and tap it. Discard a card, sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. Whenever Bloodvial Purveyor attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each blood token defending player controls, and it's a 5/6. Oh, look at this. It's a slender but chunky boy. But for real, a 4-drop 5/6 with flying and trample is so good. And on top of that, it gets bigger in conjunction with all the blood tokens it gives out. I mean, you can slap some auras on this thing, some equipment, and just go to town. I absolutely love this card for any aggressive build that runs black, and obviously it does even better if your deck cares about blood tokens. Alright, let's move on to Olivia's Attendants, 4 red creature vampire menace. Whenever Olivia's Attendants deals damage, create that many blood tokens. Their artifacts will pay 1, tap, discard a card, sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. You heard me last time. You can pay 2 in a red. Olivia's Attendants deals 1 damage to any target, and they're a 6/6. Pretty simple tech here, guys. We've got another chunky vampire card with a dope keyword ability and a really fun artifact generator baked into the card. If we can connect for all 6 damage and we've got something like Reckless Fireweaver or Ingenious Artillerist out, we will be slanging around a ton of damage. Also, Zirda reduces this cost to just 1 mana. Just saying that every day I get closer and closer to building a Zirda deck. Anyways, on to the next next card, which is Lamholt Raconteur. 3 in a red creature human werewolf. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Lamholt Raconteur deals 1 damage to each opponent. It also has Daybound. If a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night next turn. And we can transform it, and it transforms into Lamholt Ravager. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Lamholt Ravager deals 2 damage to each opponent, and it has Nightbound. If a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day next turn, and it's a 4/4. So basically the way these Innistrad werewolves work is if day switches to night, we flip our card. If night switches to day, we flip it back, which makes this a pretty simple tech here. This is just a nice group slug card, and it also does work in an artifact build. If you have a way to create infinite ETBs, you can deal infinite damage, which I think is sweet, and no matter what side you flip this card to, you'll always be dealing some damage. And incremental damage in a group slug deck means the world, so I think this card should be given a shot. Alright, second to last card of the day is another werewolf. It's Infestation Expert. 4 in a green creature human werewolf. Whenever Infestation Expert enters the battlefield or attacks, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. It has Daybound. If a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night next turn, and it's at 3/4. And then it transforms into Infested Werewolf. Creature werewolf. Whenever Infested Werewolf enters the battlefield or attacks, create 2 1/1 green insect creature tokens. And it has Nightbound. If a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day next turn. And it's a 4/5. So here's just another super fun little werewolf. We've got consistent token generation whether you're blinking it or attacking with it, and when it flips you get even more tokens. You gotta love it. And obviously we can use these tokens for either attacking, blocking, sacrificing, you know the deal. And also the art reminds me of the doctor scientist lady from Attack on Titan. Her name is escaping me right now. Also just in general, I feel like an Attack on Titan altered deck would be really cool. Ooh, or like an Attack on Titan themed deck with like humans and giants would be fun. Sorry, I'm deck building in real time. Anyways, let's plug the Patreon, shall we? If you guys enjoy my content or my videos, make sure you check out that link in the description for the Patreon. We've got lots of really cool benefits for patrons, including, first and foremost, a patron-only Discord where we have chats about sets, spoilers, cards, deck techs, anything and everything under the MTG sun, and much, much more. So if that or any of the other benefits appeal to you, make sure you check out that link. All your support helps me make more videos like this for you guys. All right, moving on to the last card of the day. It is Glorious Sunrise. 3 green enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1. Creatures you control gain +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. Target land gains tap, add 3 green mana until end of turn. Draw a card if you control a creature with power 3 or greater. You gain 3 life. And would you look at that, our last card of the day is also our most expensive card of the day, and for good reason. This card just nets you a ton of value every time it moves to your turn. And the best part is you get to choose what mode suits your strategy best. And you know we love options here on the Jank Center, baby. I don't got anything else to say. This is a great enchantment for green decks. And overall, I'd say Crimson Vow has a lot of really slept on cards that you should check out. And just like that, we are at the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you dug this content, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what cards from Crimson Vow are your favorites. Did I miss anything? I'm always down there in the comments interacting with you guys, so come on down and have a chat with me. All right, guys, that's it for me. I will see you guys on the next video.